Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is about how far you can trust a Thai bar girl. And I think the best way to illustrate that is to tell you some couple of stories about what these girls get up to. But just before we get into that, I'll just tell you where we are and why. We're down at Pratamnak area of Pattaya, just down Buddha Hill at the bottom of Soi 5, where we came a couple of videos ago. But this time we'll walk along where everyone exercises, which is on the beach walkway from here, Dongtan Beach, to the bottom end of toward the bottom end of Jomtien Beach. With a bit of luck you'll see some appealing sights on the way. But I didn't realize until recently that a lot of you are the new subscribers to this channel have never ever been to Pattaya. There's so many of you, I realize now with the questions you're giving me, that you haven't been yet, and some are complete newbies as well. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try to give you a little more information and not assume that you're experienced Pattaya goers, let's put it that way. Because when I started this channel, most of the subscribers were really regular Pattaya comers, as the channel's getting more popular, I mean, it's just gone past 18,000 subscribers now. So I've noticed that there's a lot of newbies. So I'll try and include you more. I'll try to be more inclusive, as they say. So about what goes on in Pattaya. Anyway, let's just sort of get into this trust video while we have a wander along here, and we'll go down probably halfway and then turn around and come back. And see how far we get. Probably around about 30 minutes, I would think. So anyway, let's start. There's a girl that I've known for several years, and she gives me a sort of running commentary on everything that her, and particularly her younger sister, gets up to, and it's really interesting. The young sister is now 23. And she came to Pattaya when she was only 20, and she started working at a go-go bar on Walking Street, and absolutely fell in love with the party lifestyle in Pattaya. She couldn't get enough of it, and she discovered that Farang men loved the way she looked, and they loved to spend money on her, and she thought she was like living in heaven. And then 18 months ago, everything came to a grinding halt, and the girl was devastated. She couldn't bring herself to leave Pattaya though, because she just loved it so much. She did not want to go back to boring Isan, so she stayed in her room with her sister. And being only 21, of course, very young, she was addicted to her phone and social media. But the older sister insisted that they both try to make some money by cooking Thai food. And they cooked it in the room on a little electric wok. And then they managed to beg or borrow a small sort of wheel-around food cart, a little one. And then they'd take the food to Sorbacao and sell it. And they did this just for a few weeks, to try to make enough money to survive, because they really had no other means of income. And in the meantime, the younger sister was still addicted to her phone, and she discovered all the dating sites. And of course, being 21 with no kids, very slim and pretty, she got quite a few Falangs chatting her up, and she told them that she and her sister were good girls who sold food. They made food and they sold food, and that's how they made a living, and they just sort of scraped it together, you know. Anyway, one day the older sister was cooking in the room when the electric wok she was using went bang. And the older sister burst into tears and started saying, "Oh my God, we don't have money to replace it. How are we going to survive?" and everything. And the younger sister was also upset. And she was doing live chats on WhatsApp with some of these guys that she'd met. And anyway, with the one in particular that she quite liked, she burst into tears on the live chat, on the video chat, with it, saying, "Oh, this food, this electric wok's broken. We can't cook any more food. What we're going to do? This is like a disaster." And the Farang just said to her straight away, "Well, how much is a new electric wok?" And she said, "Oh, maybe 2,000 baht, which is like about $60, which was peanuts to him." So he asked her for her bank details, and a couple of days later, the $60 appeared in her bank. So that was when a light bulb went on in the young girl's head. And the next day, she was on a live chat with a different Farang, and she told him the same story, and burst into tears in the same way. And she got exactly the same result. Another $60 arrived. It was then that she discovered just how many things can break when you're cooking food. Not just the electric wok, but the refrigerator, of course. You need a refrigerator, may need replacing again and again and again and again. So fast forward throughout the whole of the pandemic, and today both sisters now have many guys buying replacement woks and refrigerators and things like that, and the food cart is just abandoned outside their condo, and the girls have got many sponsors that they've never met, each one of them sending small amounts of money to help the girls survive in this bad time. And obviously they feel good about it. And when I asked the older sister, "Didn't you get mixed up because each girl's got 8 or 10 guys on the go or something, you know?" And she said, "No, because they only talk the same things to everybody. So they just say the same, repeat the same stuff to everybody. And each one thinks they're the only guy who's helping the girls survive." That's the way it is. So, staying on the current pandemic timeline, the young cousin of a girl I know quite well is a university student from Bangkok. And when the lockdowns in Bangkok started, she came to Pattaya to try her hand working as a freelancer, because everything was closed in Bangkok. And she met this older Korean guy who fell for her big time and asked her to move into his condo with him. Now, she was happy to accept the offer because everything then started closing down in Pattaya as well. And there was little chance of finding any other customers. However, she got into the dating app, Thai Friendly in particular, and she soon found a young Korean guy who was living in Thailand and working in Thailand, just north of Pattaya in Lam Chabang, where there's a lot of factories and a lot of offices and everything up there. And he wanted to see her. And she likes Koreans because she says they're smaller than flying. So she had to think of an excuse to get away from the old Korean guy that she was staying with. And she used the pandemic as an excuse, because what she did was she said that she was really scared of the virus, and she wanted to go to the temple to make merit and ask Buddha to save her from the virus. Now, I don't know if you know, but in Thailand there are some temples, selected ones, where they're like boarding temples, where women can go for for anything from half a day to a few days to a week at a time, and they spend time praying and cleaning the temple and meditating and what have you. And they wear all white suits, and they go in groups and they pray and eat and sleep together and clean the temple and basically purify their souls, or what they call it making merit. So for the future. This happens in many temples all over Thailand. I've been to temples and seen women dressed in white, sweeping the leaves from around the temple and everything. I've seen it, so I know that's a fact. Most of these sort of boarding temples, if you should call them that, tend to be in the middle of nowhere, out in the countryside. And you have to drive quite a long way to get to them. Most of them. There are the odd one in a city, but not many. It's just like they like to keep it out of the way. So the ladies, as I said, can stay for half a day or a week. So now there happens to be one of these temples up near Lam Chabang, which was handy. So the young girl told the old guy that she wanted to stay in the temple for 3 days with her girlfriend. And the girlfriend came along, and the two of them got dressed in their white suits, and they got a taxi paid for by the old guy, and they went to the temple. But they only stayed half a day. And in that half day they got lots and lots of pictures of themselves praying and cleaning the temple and everything, and saved them, so that she could gradually, over the next 2 or 3 days, send a few pictures each day. She also took a small bag of normal clothes with her. So after half a day, her and her friend left. Her friend went home, she got changed, and went and spent 2 days with the young Korean guy up in Lam Chabang. And each day she would send a couple of pictures of her and her friend praying at the temples to the old guy. And the old guy couldn't call her because you're not really allowed to have a phone. You're not supposed to have a phone on at the temple. You can, but they frown on it, so you're not really supposed to do it. Then after 3 days, she got the bus back to Pattaya, arriving back and telling the old guy how clean her soul was, how she'd been cleansed. So this same young girl, she used the pandemic in another way to get away from the old guy for a short time. She said she was going to the stadium where you go to get the vaccine and register and everything. And she said she went there to register, and there was a big queue and she had to wait and everything. And she just went and had a short time. And then another time she said she had to go and actually get a vaccine. So she went and queued up, supposedly, to have a vaccine, but of course they ran out of vaccines, didn't they? So that meant that she'd spent the whole 3 or 4 hours waiting for the vaccine, but couldn't get one. All nonsense, of course, because she was actually with a customer. And then, of course, that means that the following week she had to do the same thing again, because she hadn't got the vaccine the first time, so she had to go queue up again. And this sort of thing is what happens here. Now, you first-time guys have got quite a lot to learn, really. Let's say, suppose you spent a few days with a girl, and you were getting on very well, and everything was good. There may be a time after you've had a particularly good day together, and maybe that you have, say, bought her something like a new pair of shoes or a new dress, something like that. But there may be a time when she'll say something like, "You have a very good heart. You make me love you." Right? Now, if you hear something like that, treat it as a warning. It's a test. She wants to know just how much power she has over you. If you ignore her comment or just laugh, then she knows she's got a lot more work to do on you yet, you know? You're not ready yet for the plucking. Yes, I said plucking. However, if you answer something like, "Yes, I feel the same," or "I love you too, honey," then she knows she's achieving her goal, which is to get you to have strong feelings for her, or even end up loving her, so that she can move on to the next stage, which is preparing you to start sending money to her when you return home. She'll say something like, "I love you. I not want to go with another man. Can you help me? I just want little bit money every month, so I not have to work with Falang anymore." There's not usually any offer from her to return home to the village. She tries to avoid that. If you suggest it, there'll be various reasons not to do that. She'll make some excuse about there's no work, you can't make money in the village, and she wants to do some work, like in a shop or something, so that she can help to support herself, and the burden is not all on you. However, that's not the truth. The truth is that she wants to stay in Pattaya so she can continue looking for more boyfriend sponsors just like you. I personally know some girls who have multiple boyfriend sponsors from many different countries, all sending money. This is how trustworthy many bar girls are. Now, another thing that you inexperienced guys need to be aware of is the girls usually want you to think that they've only just started working in a bar last week and never worked this bar before. What she actually means is that she just came back from Isan to Pattaya last week and changed to a new bar. So what she won't tell you is that she actually worked in several bars in Pattaya before over the last 3 or 4 years. So each time she comes back from seeing the family, she's a new arrival, and that keeps happening again and again. Why do they say this? Why? Because she's always looking for a potential boyfriend or sponsor, and she doesn't want you to have any idea how many guys she's been with. I mean, do the maths. One customer each day for 3 years. It's like a millennium, isn't it? Who wants a girlfriend with that history? So that's why they don't want you to know how long they've worked in Pattaya. Another thing that inexperienced guys need to learn is about sending the girl back home to the village. I mean, I know guys who I've spoken to before who say, "Oh, she's safe, she's not in Pattaya anymore. I sent her home to a village, and I send money to a village when I'm in my home country, so don't have to worry about her being in Pattaya." And this is just like laughable, you know, thinking she's safe in the village. Laughable. Because she's going home to be around all the guys and girls she grew up with, including ex-boyfriends and geeks. If you don't know what a geek is an F-buddy, someone that she plays around with, like a boyfriend but not a boyfriend. It's just a downgrade from a boyfriend. And there are obviously many tiger guys that she's known for years, and they're just waiting to get their chance to jump, you know. these young Thai girls and Thai guys love nothing more than to have a party and go get a lot of whiskey and various chemicals, shall we say, and have a party together. And the truth is, she'll see much more action in the village, or at least as much as she would ever have seen in Pattaya. She's not safe at all. The only difference is that in the village she doesn't charge, but then she doesn't need to charge because you're sending her money. See the logic? Don't do it. And something else you newbies need to learn is if you see a girl in a bar that you like, and you chat to her for a while and have a drink or whatever, but you don't actually bar find her, you think I'll come back later. So then you wander back later and she's no longer there. She's disappeared. And you ask where she is. Mama-san will say something like, oh, she feels sick. She go home to her room, go back to her room. Or if you go back the next day to bar finder and she's not there again, then Mama-san will say, oh, she day off today. Well, the truth is that she's almost certainly been bar fined and gone off with another customer. So don't fall for all this stuff, you know, wise up, okay? Something else is if you like take a girl, well, say 1 or 2 times from a bar and everything's really good and you're getting on well, and you exchange messaging app like Line or something like that, and then you see her a few days and then one day you get no answer from the line, nothing at all, for maybe a day or 2 even, and you leave messages but there's no reply. Then the next day or the day after, whatever, when she's free, she messages you saying, oh, I have no internet, my internet finish, I cannot put new internet, have problem with phone, so I can't message you, but I fix internet. The truth is that it's just an excuse, and she's been with another customer. You have to accept that that's the way it is here, you know, that's the way it is. So anyway guys, please tell me if you like this type of video where I try to give you as much information as I can about how things are, what's going on. If you can trust people here, which you make your own mind up from what I tell you, but I'm trying to educate you, if you like, from 10 years of experience. If you haven't been before, then maybe it's helpful, you know, I hope it is. But if you like this type of video where I tell you the truth, let me know in the comments. And please don't forget to subscribe and to like and to share and to ring the notification bell so you get notified when there's another video. And thank you very much for watching, guys.